Anna's journey from heartbreak to self-discovery and new love. The morning Anna woke up to an empty side of the bed, her world felt like it had caved in. The pillow where Jack had once rested his head still held the faint scent of him, a cruel reminder that he was gone. His note, hastily scrawled on a torn piece of paper, sat on the nightstand. "I'm sorry, Anna. I can't do this anymore. You deserve more than I can give." It wasn't a dramatic goodbye, no shouting match or grand betrayal. Instead, it was a quiet unraveling, a love story that had slipped through her fingers like sand. They had been together for 6 years, built a life full of shared dreams and quiet routines. Jack had been her anchor, her best friend, and the one she thought she would spend forever with. Now, he was gone. For weeks, Anna lived in a fog of disbelief and heartbreak. She replayed every moment of their relationship, wondering where she had gone wrong. Friends and family tried to comfort her, but their words felt hollow. The nights were the hardest, when the silence of her apartment seemed to echo her loneliness. One evening, as she sat in the dim light of her living room surrounded by photographs of happier times, something shifted. Staring at a picture of her and Jack laughing on a beach, she realized she couldn't keep living in the past. He had made his choice, and though it felt like her heart had shattered into a million pieces, she was still here. With trembling hands, she put the photographs away in a box and placed it in the back of her closet. It was a small step, but it felt monumental. The next day, Anna decided to take another step forward. She signed up for a yoga class she had always talked about trying but never had the time for. Walking into the studio, she felt out of place and unsure, but the instructor's calm voice and the rhythm of her breath began to soothe her frayed nerves. As weeks turned into months, Anna started to rebuild her life piece by piece. She rediscovered passions she had neglected during her relationship: painting, hiking, and writing. Her journal became her safe space, a place where she poured out her grief, anger, and eventually, her dreams for the future. Still, there were days when the weight of Jack's absence felt unbearable. On one particularly difficult night, she found herself scrolling through old messages, tears streaming down her face. But instead of spiraling into despair, she wrote a letter to him, not to send, but to release the emotion she had been holding on to. "Jack," she wrote, "you hurt me more than I thought was possible. But I'm learning that my happiness doesn't depend on you. I'm stronger than I knew, and though I'll always treasure what we had, I'm choosing to let go." As she finished the letter, a sense of peace washed over her. She realized she wasn't just letting go of Jack, she was letting go of the version of herself that believed she couldn't live without him. One sunny afternoon, while sketching in the park, Anna met a kind-eyed man named Liam. He complimented her artwork, and they struck up a conversation. At first, Anna was hesitant. The wounds from her breakup were still tender, and the idea of opening her heart again seemed terrifying. But Liam was patient. They started as friends, sharing coffee and long walks. Slowly, Anna began to trust him, and more importantly, herself. Liam didn't try to fix her or fill the void Jack had left. Instead, he encouraged her to continue her journey of self-discovery, reminding her that she was whole on her own. One evening, as they watched the sunset together, Liam turned to her and said, "You know, Anna, you're one of the strongest people I've ever met. The way you've rebuilt your life, it's inspiring." Tears welled up in her eyes, not from sadness, but from the realization that she had come so far. Jack's departure, though painful, had taught her resilience. She had learned to love herself in a way she never had before. Years later, as Anna looked back on that chapter of her life, she felt gratitude, not for the heartbreak, but for the growth it had sparked. Jack had been a part of her story, but he wasn't the end of it. Her journey had been messy and painful, but it had also been transformative. She had discovered strengths she didn't know she possessed, created a life full of meaning and joy, and found a love that didn't complete her but complemented the person she had become. Because when he left, she realized she was enough. And that, above all, was her greatest triumph. As Anna embraced her newfound independence and joy, her life began to flourish in ways she never imagined. Her art, once a quiet hobby, evolved into a full-blown passion. Her sketches and paintings filled with raw emotion and vivid imagery started catching attention on social media. Galleries began reaching out, intrigued by her unique style and the depth of feeling in her work. Her first exhibition was a small affair, but it was deeply personal. Each piece told a story of heartbreak, healing, and self-discovery. At the opening, as she mingled with guests and answered their questions, she felt a confidence she hadn't known before. Liam was there, of course, standing quietly at the back, his eyes shining with pride as he watched her shine. But fate, as it often does, had more twists in store. One evening, after a particularly successful day at her studio, Anna received an unexpected email. The subject line read, "The sender was Jack." Her heart raced as she opened the message, unsure of what she'd find. It was brief, almost tentative. "Jack, Anna, I saw your recent exhibition online. Your work is breathtaking. I don't know if I even have the right to say this, but I'm proud of you. I'd love to meet if you're willing. No pressure, just to talk." Anna stared at the screen, emotions swirling. Part of her wanted to delete the email and move on, to leave Jack firmly in her past. But another part, the one that remembered their late-night talks, shared dreams, and quiet moments, was curious. What did he want? Did he regret leaving? Against her better judgment, she replied, "Anna, thank you for your kind words. I'm open to meeting. Let me know when you're free." A week later, they met at a quiet cafe downtown, the same one where she and Liam often spent their mornings. Jack looked different. Older, perhaps a bit thinner, with a sadness in his eyes that hadn't been there before. "Jack, Anna, I don't even know where to start. First, I owe you an apology for everything." She nodded but didn't respond, letting him continue. "Jack, I thought I was doing the right thing by leaving. I felt like I wasn't enough for you, that I was holding you back. But seeing you now, I realize I was wrong. You didn't need me to make you whole. You've always been whole on your own." His words were heartfelt, and for a moment, Anna felt the old wound stir. But as she looked at Jack, she realized something profound. The love she once had for him had been replaced by something else. Gratitude for the lessons he'd taught her, and compassion for the man who had once been her world. "Anna, thank you, Jack, for everything. Leaving me was the hardest thing I've ever been through, but it forced me to grow. I don't hold any anger toward you. In fact, I'm grateful. I wouldn't be who I am today without that chapter of my life." Jack's eyes glistened, but he smiled. "Jack, you've become incredible, Anna. I hope you know that." As they parted ways, Anna felt a sense of closure she hadn't realized she needed. The chapter with Jack was truly over, not with bitterness or regret, but with peace. When she returned home that evening, Liam was waiting, a small bouquet of wildflowers in his hand. "Liam, you're smiling," he said, handing her the flowers. "Anna, I am," she replied, kissing his cheek. "Liam, what happened?" "Anna, closure," she said simply, her heart lighter than it had been in years. In the days that followed, Anna threw herself into her art with renewed vigor. Her second exhibition was even more successful than the first, and she and Liam began planning their future together. A small house by the sea, a studio filled with light, and a life built on mutual respect and love. But Anna knew one thing for certain: no matter what the future held, she was stronger than she had ever been. She had faced heartbreak, embraced healing, and rediscovered herself. And now, she was unstoppable. As Anna settled into the quiet rhythm of her life with Liam, she felt a profound sense of peace that she hadn't known in years. Their love was steady, unassuming, and full of quiet gestures that spoke volumes. A cup of tea waiting for her after a long day, a hand to hold when the weight of the world felt too much. But life, as it often does, had other plans. One crisp autumn morning, Liam woke up with a slight pain in his chest. He waved it off as nothing more than stress, but Anna insisted he see a doctor. Liam, always eager to ease her worries, agreed. What began as a precautionary visit spiraled into a nightmare. The diagnosis was devastating, an aggressive form of leukemia. The doctor's words felt like a thunderclap in the small, sterile room. Anna gripped Liam's hand tightly, her mind racing with 1,000 questions, none of which she could form into words. "We'll fight this," Liam said softly, his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. "Together." And fight they did. The months that followed were grueling. Hospital visits, chemotherapy, and sleepless nights became their new normal. Anna stayed by Liam's side through every step, her love for him growing fiercer with every challenge. Yet there were moments when the weight of it all felt unbearable. Moments when she would sit alone in her studio, tears streaming down her face, questioning why life seemed so cruel. Despite the pain and exhaustion, Liam remained a beacon of hope. "Promise me something," he said one night as they lay in bed, his voice weak but determined. "No matter what happens, you'll keep painting. The world needs your light, Anna. I need your light." Anna nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. As Liam's health declined, Anna poured her heart into her art. She painted scenes of their life together, the laughter they shared, the quiet moments of comfort, and the love that had carried them through. Each stroke of her brush was a testament to their bond, a way of preserving the beauty of their time together. One evening, as she worked on a particularly emotional piece, Liam shuffled into the studio, his frail body leaning heavily on the door frame. "That's beautiful," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Anna turned, her eyes filled with tears. "It's us," she said, gesturing to the painting. "All of it. Everything we've been through." Liam smiled weakly. "You've always had a way of turning pain into beauty." A week later, Liam passed away peacefully in his sleep, Anna's hand resting in his. The loss was devastating, a chasm of grief that threatened to consume her. For weeks, she couldn't bring herself to enter her studio, the unfinished painting on the easel a painful reminder of what she had lost. But one day, as she sat by the window watching the autumn leaves fall, Liam's words came back to her. "The world needs your light, Anna." With trembling hands, she picked up her brush and returned to the painting. Finishing it felt like saying goodbye, but it also felt like honoring his memory. The painting became the centerpiece of her next exhibition titled Eternal Light. It was a collection of works inspired by love, loss, and resilience. The response was overwhelming. People from all walks of life connected with her art, finding hope and solace in her story. At the exhibition's opening, a woman approached Anna, tears streaming down her face. "Your work saved me," she said. "I lost my husband last year, and I didn't think I could go on. But seeing this, it reminded me that love doesn't end. It transforms us." Anna smiled, her own tears threatening to spill. "That's exactly what Liam would have wanted," she said softly. Years later, Anna stood in her studio, now filled with light and laughter once again. She had found joy in her art, in the connections it created, and in the memories of the two great loves of her life. Jack had taught her resilience. Liam had shown her the depth of unconditional love. And through their influence, Anna had become a woman who could face anything life threw at her, turning even the deepest pain into something beautiful. For love doesn't just shape us, it carries us forward even when it feels like everything is lost.